All right, here. Welcome everyone to the City of Tempe Housing Authority quarterly meeting. This meeting is of course virtual. It's 5:37 p.m. on April 15, 2021. Due to concerns over COVID-19 exposure, the city has implemented measures to protect our community, including the closing of council chambers and limiting public attendance to electronic means only. Members of the public may view the live meeting proceedings on Tempe Channel 11 or attend the meeting virtually through Cisco WebEx events by visiting tempe.gov/clerk for more information. Item number 1 is the call to the audience. The City Council welcomes public comment at this time, only for items listed on the agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Madam Clerk, were there any comments received from the public?
Mayor, we do have some comments there for the public hearing items, and then we have some comments for the end of the meeting.
Okay, sounds good. Then let's go ahead then and go to item number 2, which is the approval of City of Tempe Housing Authority meeting minutes for January 14th, 2021. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Garland. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilmember Navarro. I'll go ahead and get a roll call vote here. Councilmember Navarro?
Aye.
Councilmember Cubie?
Aye.
Councilmember Garland?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Keating?
Yes.
Councilmember Arredondo Savage? Councilmember Arredondo Savage? Councilmember Adams?
It appears that we have lost Councilmember Adams presently. Stand by.
Let's see. I'm gonna keep going here. Jack Drummond, is he on?
He is presently not.
Okay, I'm gonna go one more time really quickly here. Councilmember Arredondo Savage? Councilmember Adams? All right, hearing none, I vote aye as well. That vote passes 5-0 with Councilmembers Arredondo Savage. Let's see, actually, hold on. 5-0, Councilmembers Arredondo Savage, Councilmember Adams absent, and Jack Drummond absent as well. All right, next item is item number 3 here, which is the Housing Authority Governing Board quarterly update for the quarter ended March 31st, 2021. And I'm gonna go ahead and call upon Levon Lamy for an update.
Good evening, Housing Authority Governing Board. My name is Levon Lamy, and I manage housing services for the City of Tempe. Tonight, we are here to provide an update to the Housing Authority activities through the quarter ended March 31st, 2021. We also are seeking approval of any discretionary policy changes that were made to the Housing Authority Administrative Plan. The only discretionary changes that we are looking to make to the administrative plan this year for your approval are temporary COVID-related waivers. A full matrix was included in the board packet for tonight, but these regulatory waivers are short-term. At this time, they do end June 30th, 2021, but they allow the Housing Authority and staff to expedite the processing of individuals' annual recertifications, intake, eligibility, and getting the assistance in and out in a much faster manner than is typically required. One of the waivers does allow us to use electronic signatures, Adobe Sign, versus mailings, which require 14 days. So it gets us there a little bit faster. All mandatory changes that came down from HUD were already incorporated in the administrative plan. Again, update on activities through the first quarter of 2021, and we are seeking board approval of our annual PHA or Public Housing Authority plan, and seeking authorization to submit the required documents to HUD for our next calendar year program. For the Housing Authority administrative updates, again, we are only implementing discretionary changes as they relate to COVID-19. So more specific example, electronic signatures, our virtual housing quality inspections, to make sure units are decent, safe, and sanitary, but also protecting as much as possible the health and safety of staff. Regulatory updates, again, mandatory updates were already incorporated into the administrative plan. These are in the form of PIH notices, HUD policy guidance, or HUD policy mandated changes. And of course, we're always, with a 600-page document, we're typically picking up some spelling corrections or other unsubstantive changes to the overall document. For a financial update, we'll get into a little bit more of the specifics on the numbers in some following slides. However, we have received our full year funding authorization. The Housing Authority is funded through the federal government on a calendar year basis, so we operate on a January to December funding cycle. We have received base budget eligibility with initially calculated funding. These are being revised for emergency vouchers that are being issued as a result of the American Rescue Plan. Funding prorations, which typically are a little bit more severe than they are this year. However, our housing assistance payments, we are at 100% of our anticipated funding for the year. Administrative fees, which are what we use for staff, paper, pencils. We are looking at a 90% prorate this year that is anticipated. However, that is possible, more than likely going to change as we move forward with the new funding through the rescue plan. For base PHA operations and the annual plan update, we of course are continuing to pursue program expansions in either through federal grants, state grants, local grants, partnerships with nonprofits, any various and sundry way that we are able to expand affordable housing options throughout the city of Tempe. We continue to work on the coordination of the entitlement programs, CDBG, Home, ESG, Emergency Solutions Grant. These, we do base the annual plan, PHA plan, based on the 5-year needs assessment that is conducted as part of the 5-year consolidated planning process with the Community Development Block Grant or CDBG plan. So this does line up with those those needs assessments. And of course, we're always looking at multi-jurisdictional collaborations in order to make affordable housing more readily available. For current programming and financial estimates, as I mentioned, we have our initial base funding authorizations. This is for housing assistance payments only. This does not include any of the administrative fees that come in. For the base Housing Choice Voucher Program, it is $11,243,968. That is a budget, that is an increase. The Mainstream Housing Choice Voucher Program, $687,312. Family Unification is approximately $299,047. I have highlighted on this slide two rows to call out there, to make sure that we draw attention to them and to call them out specifically. The first of which is the American Rescue Plan Max Leasing Funds. That is right at $2 million. As part of the rescue plan, additional funding was allocated to HUD and will be allocated to the individual jurisdictions in order to maximize the leasing of our housing choice vouchers. In a typical year, we are provided a set amount of funding. So for instance, we have $10 million in funding. We have 1,052 vouchers. We can lease as many vouchers as possible with that $10 million, but we cannot go over the $10 million. We are typically in the neighborhood of 97, 98% budget utilization, with around 85% of our vouchers being utilized, plus or minus. With this additional $2 million in funding, we have the ability to bring our lease utilization rate up to 98% of the 1,052 vouchers without having to worry about the overall budget restrictions, provided we don't go over the additional $2 million. From there, the emergency vouchers. These are emergency vouchers, or we used to call them disaster vouchers. So these are limited restricted use vouchers that are being issued for individuals or families who were impacted through COVID. There are some restrictions and funding use guidelines that will be coming out in the future, but we are anticipating approximately 200 additional vouchers and roughly $1.8 million in additional housing assistance funds. All in, this will allow us to issue a little over 500 new housing vouchers between now and July 1st. So we are very actively pulling families off of the waiting list and working through the eligibility processes. These will be moving forward as the emergency vouchers. That is a short-term or term-limited program. However, it is a 10-year program where our base increase in the Housing Choice Voucher Program will remain viable in future years. We have also renewed and been re-awarded our Family Self-Sufficiency Grant. This Family Self-Sufficiency Grant pays for a Family Self-Sufficiency Coordinator who works with families on any of the housing programs to increase their earned income and reduce their dependency on any welfare assistance or rental subsidy programs moving forward. For additional programming, our Bridge Bridge 2 programs continue to the programs we run in conjunction with behavioral health. These are staying steady at 25 vouchers each with roughly $250,000 budget authority for housing assistance. The Home TBRA program, which includes all of the TBRAs, that is coming in at around $944,000 for housing assistance payments moving into next year. That Home TBRA is including funding that we had put out for the short-term rental assistance, 6 months or $10,000, whichever comes first. It also includes our families that we put on for the 24-month assistance program for individuals or families who were homeless or would be homeless due to fleeing domestic violence. For affiliate program update and affiliate activity, we have completed the purchase of 43 units. There are currently 4 in escrow. We have 7 units that are pending construction. Originally, the construction was slated to be completed earlier, mid to end of last year. However, these have been delayed due to COVID. So we are working with the construction company to determine what a new timeline will be so that we will have completed units on those. The affiliate also, as far as our rental properties, was designed to be self-sustaining. We do have a 10-year capital improvement, a replacement plan and funding in place. When units are required, we rehabilitate them and make sure that everything going in is rent ready. The first year of ownership, 100% of net proceeds, rent minus any operating expenses, are put directly into a savings account for repair, maintenance, and capital maintenance. Every year thereafter, for each unit, 20% of the gross receipts is put directly into savings, with the remaining funds being available for other affiliate uses. At the current time, we have approximately $135,000 in cash restricted for repair, maintenance, and capital maintenance and capital improvements in the units. Just so that the board is able to see some of the work that we are doing in affiliate units. The picture farthest to your left, we have replaced the flooring in that unit with what they're calling a luxury vinyl plank product. This one over a concrete slab foundation. In that unit, the top middle picture, we had a plumbing issue in that kitchen and had to redo the floors and some of the drywall around the kitchen. That again is a luxury vinyl plank product on the floors, and we were able to get countertops and a fresh rehab in that unit. The top right picture, We did do a refresh in that unit. That is new carpet and some fresh interior paint. The bottom right, I know it's a little bit weird. However, we had a plumbing issue with that bathtub, and instead of putting in, just the white plastic surround, we were able to find what we think is a pretty neat tile that we were able to tile up and create a decent, actually a pretty neat looking bathroom surround in there. For the bottom middle picture, the cabinets were recently resurfaced and the countertops were deep cleaned and polished. So that's some of the capital maintenance and just basic maintenance that we do to these units in order to keep them in good condition. As part of our update to the Housing Authority Governing Board, we are happy to report that the City of Tempe City Council has an initiative called the Hometown for All. This initiative is for the development, preservation, ultimately, of affordable and workforce housing. The funding, there is a memorandum of understanding on the City Council's agenda tonight for review and approval. This covers the acquisition of land, whether it be improved or unimproved properties, for assemblage to further develop affordable or workforce units. It allows for the acquisition of units for 81 to 120% area median income, so that there is a permanent base of workforce income rental units. There is funding available, or part of this, in order to incentivize development with developers and to provide down payment assistance for homeownership options for the 81 to 120 area median income, or AMI. These are not typically the households who qualify for any type of down payment assistance, because most federal programs cap at 80%. So this does create an opportunity in that income bracket. It is anticipated that somewhere between $2 and $4 million per year would be coming in as a result of this City Council initiative. Part of those funds are in the form of building permit fees and a percentage of those. And other form will be there has been a suggested voluntary donation amount that has been presented for individuals and developers who would like to contribute to affordable and workforce housing, even if their project is not quite able to do that. So in providing that update to the Housing Board, if the City of Tempe City Council approves that memorandum or that agreement, that MOU, then it will be presented to the affiliate board for review and approval, and the affiliate of the Tempe Housing Authority would undertake these activities moving forward. As additional program updates, our Housing Navigator for the period of January of 20 through March of 2021, assisted 549 individuals or families in their location of housing and the location of housing units. Not all of those were in housing assistance programs. She was successful in working with 130 program participants in housing them with their vouchers. She was able to work with 18 new landlords that comprised 42 new units, of which we have filled everyone. And we are proposing, as we move forward into the next funding year, that we expand the Housing Navigators to two housing navigators, as the need for this assistance with affordable and frankly workforce unit finding has just continued to grow. And we do not limit her to just housing program participants. This is any member of the community who needs some assistance in finding an affordable unit. So for the base operations, the annual PHA plan, again, this provides a description of our new and planned activities, which is continuing to expand affordable housing options as much as possible throughout Tempe. And we do provide an update on the progress in meeting the mission and goals as listed in our 5-year agency plan, which is tied to our 5-year consolidated plan. And that concludes the board update. We are seeking consensus from the board, if possible, for the utilization of the COVID waivers as our only discretionary item. And then, of course, there is the approval of our agency plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luan. Really appreciate the presentation. Council, any comments or questions or discussion? Let's see, Councilmember Cubie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And yes, you have my approval, my consensus to move forward with that plan. I noted the 18 new landlords and really pleased about the Housing Navigator. That's been such a tremendous addition to our portfolio of activities and initiatives. I just have a question about recruiting new landlords to accept Section 8 vouchers. I know sometimes it's really difficult for potential renters to find landlords that will accept the vouchers. So what are we doing? What exactly are we doing? Because it seems to be successful to encourage more landlords to sign up. How are we getting that word out?
So board member Cubie, our Housing Navigator, part of her charge, not only with assisting folks in finding units, but is to be proactively reaching out to landlords, apartment complexes, mom and pop landlords who are just renting out 1 or 2 units, discussing the program with them, asking if they are aware of the program, are interested in participating in the program. Some folks, what we have run into is, well, I'm 2005 I rented a unit, and I just haven't rented since. So we have a discussion as far as what's changed since 2005 and what has not, and then just providing the education. And we do as part of when we're bringing in new landlords who we have been able to develop that relationship with, and are willing to come in and take one of the vouchers. We have streamlined their process. So as a general rule, there are always exceptions, but as a general rule, we get their paperwork processed and their first payment out to them within 2 weeks of the date it comes in the door, provided we're able to verify their EIN and their registration with for TPT for the renter's sales tax. We also are working with have done quite a bit of work with the rental associations, especially the smaller groups, in communicating what we're doing and the benefits that we are trying to bring for the landlords and for the tenants. We're always looking at improving the communication and the marketing and the networking that we do with landlords in order to recruit more landlords. Pre-COVID, we would have landlord recruitment days, landlord fairs. Our Housing Navigator would go out and literally drive some of the streets and find the for rent signs in the yards and call those numbers to make sure they were the folks that we were currently engaged with. We have kind of ceased that over the last few months, but we are also actively starting to reach out to landlords on Craigslist and on GoSection8.com and on SocialServe in order to look at to engage them to see if they would be willing to give our participants a shot. And then, of course, sometimes it does require developing that relationship with the landlord over a period of time so that they want to do that.
Thank you, Levon. Thank you for all your hard work, and thank you to your staff as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Cubie. Councilmember Garland.
Thank you, Mayor. Levon, I love the information that you provided for us tonight. I want to ask you a question about on slide 6, you were talking, or not a question, but just a comment. You were talking about that you spend about 98% of the money, but about 80% of the vouchers get used. I'm really happy to hear that with the American Rescue Plan money that 80% number will go up. I can't remember what number you said. It was like 95% you think that will go up to? I couldn't remember what you said. But I'm happy to hear that, and thank you so much for giving us that information. I also want to say that it's a really strange thing, but it's nice that you put those pictures, those drawings that the kids made on those slides, because it actually makes these numbers not look like numbers, but it makes it more human. And for me, at least, I was looking at the numbers and realizing that those numbers and the voucher numbers are actually related to a human, and it's having that picture on there just kind of brought it together. So great job using that visualization. So I just want to tell you thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Board Member Garland. The colored pictures were part of the What Home Means to Me contest, I believe, from a year or 2 years ago, and we had put them up to display the artwork of some of our youngest participants, but I just don't have the heart to take them down. So
yeah, I don't blame you. They're great. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Garland. Next up, Councilmember Adams.
Yes, I just want to thank Levon for this excellent presentation. I like how you break down the money so we really understand where it's going and how thorough you are. So I just appreciate everything you're doing and helping so many people out there in our community that are in need. And just want to say a huge thank you to you and your team. Thanks, Levon.
thank you, Board Member Adams.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilmember Adams. Councilmember Arredondo Savage.
After all those nice kudos, Levon, you know what I'd like to say, but I'm going to just chime in and say, yes, excellent job, Levon. You did a great job. And you know what's interesting, I think, being a council member for a while, is to really see the evolution of what we've been able to do when we proactively put our mind to really improving our housing stock and our housing options. And that just doesn't happen by chance. It happens with people and teams like you guys have, with Naomi's leadership. I mean, you guys have really made some phenomenal leaps and bounds of where we were even 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago. And I think it'd be great someday, you know, Levon, if you could just kind of remind us where we were and how far we've come, because I know a lot of people that maybe haven't been here that long haven't really seen the evolution and the number of people that we've been able to impact with their support. And I think this proactive approach and really being methodical and thoughtful about where we want to spend the dollars and what's the best bang for the buck. So again, you do phenomenal work as always, and your team, I'm super grateful, and I 100% support your recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Arredondo Savage, and I'll be happy to put in a show-off graphic for the next board meeting on the growth of the program over the last
I
year.
think you should. I'm surprised you haven't done it till now, Levon, but I think it's just a really good reminder, because we have done a lot of really good things, and I think Mayor Woods knows that, where we were before and where we are now. So it's really remarkable, and I think we just need to remind ourselves how important it is. But get on it, Levon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Arredondo Savage. Levon, I'll just say very quickly, great presentation and great work as always. I think we're doing such amazing things in the area of housing, and I think we're many times the envy of a lot of other surrounding cities with all the work that we're doing to diversify all the housing options and the housing stock that we offer. I completely concur with your suggestions as well. So it sounds like you have consensus on those items, and unless you have anything else, sounds like we're good.
No, thank you, Board Chair. We have consensus, so we can move forward with that. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. Next up here is item number 4, which is to hold a public hearing to obtain citizen comment pursuant to federal law and adopt a resolution approving the City of Tempe's Housing Authority annual public housing agency plan for the fiscal year 2021-2022, approving the annual update of the City of Tempe Housing Authority Administrative Plan, and authorizing the housing manager to submit them to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Is staff available to make a statement on this item?
Board Chair Woods, this is the agency plan that we were, and administrative plan we were just discussing in the broader presentation.
Okay, sounds good. Excellent. All right, Madam Clerk, I think you had comments pertaining to this item.
Mayor, my mistake. Those are for the next public hearings in the regular council meeting.
I was wondering about that, so okay, thank you so much. With that, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Council, any comments or discussion on item 4? All right, well, hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to adopt resolution number THAR 2220, actually, excuse me, THAR 2021.01. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Okay, Moved by Vice Mayor Keating, seconded by Councilmember Garland. I'm going to go ahead and call for a roll call vote. Councilmember Navarro,
Aye.
Councilmember Cubie,
Aye.
Councilmember Garland,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Keating,
Yes.
Councilmember Arredondo Savage,
Aye.
Councilmember Adams,
Aye.
Board Member Drummond, and I vote aye as well. That item passes 7-0 with Board Member Drummond absent. And with that, this meeting is adjourned at 6:07 p.m. We're going to take a 1-minute break and then get to our regular council meeting. Council will just stay in the same WebEx here.